But yeah, let's get the introductions going. What's going
Yeah.
on? Let's talk a little bit about yourself.
All right. So my name's Jude Abbadessa. I'm a freshman pitcher on the UConn baseball team. I'm from Endicott, New York, upstate little town up there. Some things about me. Um, on the baseball side of things, I transitioned to be a PO probably only about a couple months ago, right before school. I played shortstop in high school, and I was planning to do that in college, but then pitching just became my passion. Outside of baseball, I feel like I'm just an outgoing kid. Like to have some fun. Like to be with friends and family. Yeah, I just love life.
It's a good way
Yeah.
to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So let's just head right into the commitment process for UConn. So like what was that like and how's your experience been there so far?
Yeah. So actually, my recruiting process was one of the craziest I've ever heard of, and I went through it. So, the transition to PO, my sophomore year, I was just a little pitcher that threw 77 miles an hour and had no hope to go anywhere. And then during COVID, I just decided that I just want to do all I can to try and make my dream come true. So I actually moved from New York to Michigan, Niles, Michigan, to play on a team out there for high school, mostly due to COVID, but also due to just recruiting purposes. And it couldn't have went any better. I had a great time out there. And sophomore year on the gun, I saw 77 miles an hour. First pitch my junior year, I saw 91. And I was like, how did that happen? So then my recruiting process just went from there. I mean, I went from no offers to getting a bunch of calls every day, random calls from random schools. And my process probably lasted about 2.5 weeks. UConn was one of my first calls, and it was actually my first and only visit. I had a bunch of other visits planned up and a lot of other schools that even called me right when I was deciding. But UConn just was the perfect school. And then when I got there, we actually had a summer program. So I had a really good time over the summer there. Took 2 classes and trained, and there hasn't been one moment where I've regretted my decision. I love it there. The coaching staff is special, team special, and just the atmosphere is just great.
And yeah, I mean, recently, UConn produced probably one of the best two ways in this draft, obviously, Reggie Crawford. So I definitely see the hope, the hopes he had two-way in there. And I get it. I mean, everyone wants to be a Ohtani at this point of the day. It's like, what can't he do? And there's something that I kind of want to talk about that I found interesting about your recruiting process. Obviously, I saw on your Instagram you were out in Michigan, but what was the difference between the baseball and the competition maybe in Michigan and in New York? Because I know, especially upstate, I don't know how good the competition is in New York.
Yeah, I'd say the competition was definitely more frequent than it is in New York. I mean, some of the guys you run across up here. I mean, I'll shout out some guys like Michael Mancini, Jack Hopko. He's going to JMU, and Jack's going to Rhode Island. Those are some of my good friends up here. And then Brody Raleigh, a bunch of people. There's some really good players up in upstate New York, but out there is more every game I'd see better talent than where it'd be only certain games up here. But I wouldn't say it was too different, but just having bigger schools around me and having a coaching staff that knew more about recruiting definitely helped out and definitely benefited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Going back to UConn a little bit. First of all, I toured there not for baseball for purposes, but just toured there just because I might want to apply. And first of all, I love the field. The batter's eye, which is our name of our podcast, has the eyes, and it's sick.
Mm-hmm. That caught my attention right away. Right when I visited, I didn't even ask the pitching coach, Coach Mack. Shout out, Coach Mack. I didn't even ask him on my visit if I could go on the field. I literally just walked straight out on it. And we went to center field because in the center field, there's our Husky logo in dead center. And then when you look up, the Husky eyes are on the thing, and it's the scariest thing ever. A bunch of people actually say they get a little bit intimidated when they come. So then I just walked right from the Husky logo onto the mound. I stood on the mound, acted like I was going to pitch, and then turned around and looked everywhere. And I was like, yeah, this is the place I want to be.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, that is sick.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the field. I didn't tour it, but I will probably end up touring UConn just to go out and see what it's like. I saw the field, pictures of it, everything. That's like, yeah, for a baseball player, I would probably want to be at that area too.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially as a pitcher. Like walking out of the bullpen and everyone stares at you and you see the Husky logo and then the eyes on the batter's eye. That would be sick.
Yeah, in fall, my first time running out of the pen, like it's just a different feeling in college because like in high school, I was like a starter and like I mean, sometimes I'd run out of the pen to get to the mound, but just the atmosphere and just like you had to just take it in like the first time. And then like the next two, I threw 3 times in the fall in our 3 scrimmages. And the next time it was kind of just like another day at the ballpark. But the first time is definitely, you can even say like you don't get the jitters or anything, but you definitely do.
Yeah. It definitely, like, I mean, it's a different thing. It's like, yeah, I made it. Like, it's like, yeah, I made a moment here. Like I'm pitching.
Yeah, there's definitely been some of those like I made it moments. Not like, I mean, I'm not done. Like this isn't my like long-term goal, but there's been some times we had it on Fridays. We have competition day, so we do like we drafted teams and we do like lifting competitions against each other. It's awesome. The atmosphere there is just sick. But we were outside on a Friday. It was pouring rain. We had the lights on the field, and everyone is just drenched. And we like finished up. And me and some of the freshmen, like, we're just standing in center field in the pouring rain, like, wow, like, just take this in real quick. Like, we're actually here right now. Like, this is a special moment. And that was like one moment that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And it was, especially with like the other freshmen, it was really cool to experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, I was going to say this. Over the summer out in the, is it the Futures League? Yeah, Futures League. I met Quigley.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got both Quigleys now. Michael's an awesome kid, and he's got a special arm. It's crazy.
He is crazy. I need to get him. I talked to him about getting him on. He's busy though. He's very busy. We tried to set something up recently, but we'll do it soon.
Yeah.
But that was sick. That was like that was right after like I had a episode with Lance McCullers like came out, and then I was on like I was just doing college tours, and I went to like a game with it was a Brockton Rocks game. Like I went with a bunch of kids like I knew, and he was out there playing against them. But I like met up with him before the game because I knew some of the guys, so they put me on the field. Like I knew some of the guys on the Rocks team, so they let me out on the field and everything. I saw him pitch a little bit, throw a little. Yeah, saw him long toss. He didn't even throw that day. I just saw him long toss, and he was
airing it out. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. From like
special arm talent. It's ridiculous.
That was crazy. I could not believe my eyes looking at that. Like, how can someone throw this far and do it so effortlessly?
Mm-hmm. His mechanics are one of the best I've seen too. Anywhere I've gone, like even I've played against some really high end pitchers, and his mechanics are just like every time it's like boom, 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 and he's hitting it. Like he's hitting every motion perfectly. I'm like, wow. And he knows a lot about pitching too. You might not, if you talk to him, you might be like, oh, this guy just throws the ball as hard as he can, but that's not truly who he is.
So going now, this is completely unrelated, so I don't know why I was going to say going off of that, but like you have the jersey in the background, you won a Little League World Series. I mean, what was that like? That's like every kid's dream growing up. Like you play a Little League, you're like, man, I want to make it to Williamsport and win this.
Yeah, that experience was, I hope I can top it. It's going to be tough to top, but it was just a whirlwind going through your head, especially at 12 years old. And I turned 13 there. But like just to start off, like my 11-year-old year, the year before, we actually made it to regionals and played on ESPN one time. And that was literally like, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like there's nothing I could do better than play on ESPN one time. I thought I was the real deal. And then the next year started coming up, and I was like, we didn't lose that many guys. Like we have a chance. So there were some, like I could pull on like some people, I could text some people, and there were some people I told like our team is going to make it. And I don't know if that was just me trying to be confident and trying to tell myself we're going to make it, or me actually thinking we were, because we had some really good talent. And just building up to it. I mean, in like districts, we kind of just blew out every team. And then we got to states, we had a couple tough games. And then in the regional, first game actually was, I think, what like cemented our team. We actually had to battle really hard. It was our first battle, and we had a big win. And then wins just kept on piling through, and we made it to Williamsport, which for me, especially from upstate New York, pretty like 2.5 hours from Williamsport. I've been going since I've 5 years old. I got some pictures in the Monet Davis jersey, all those jerseys. I would get the Mid-Atlantic jersey every single time. And to finally like get it in real life, it was awesome. But there are certain moments I remember, and then taking the field, like I honestly don't remember at all, because I think I was just like a 12-year-old that was so in it and like just like, wow, like we have to do this right now. Like if I went now, I'd have a totally different approach, but it was just like playing the game for fun, which definitely, that's why it's so fun to watch and so interesting, because you're not getting paid. There's not posted rankings. There's not, oh, that's Bryce Harper going up to hit. Oh, there's Mike Trout. It's just, oh, there's a random 12-year-old that is just out there trying to play and have fun.
Mhm.
But that experience was basically a 12-year-old in an MLB life for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And it's one that definitely has shaped who I am, and also made me into the person who I am, because like on my baseball side, because I'll go out in front of like any crowd now, and like I'm like, okay, like I've already done this before. So it definitely helps.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I played the districts in the 4 years in a row, and we always lost to Staten Island every year in sectionals. Every single year we lost to Staten Island, whether it was Great Kills Little League or South Shore or any of those teams. So I'm sure you beat them. You ended up beating them, or you played them.
Yep.
But I just love watching the Little World Series anyway. Even when I'm older, I'm like, oh, I could totally beat these guys. But still, it's like it's just really cool to watch. And funny enough, like I talk to all these adults, and they even say like one of their favorite sports events to watch on TV is the Little World Series. There's just something about it that's just, it's so much different than anything else.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, I remember like Max, we'd play Staten Island, we'd come back, and like all you like for like 2 weeks we'd be now like, oh no, like all those guys were old, or like they're cheating. Like it's like that's just how we were when we were like 12, 13. We'd lose and we'd be like, no, it's not the end of the world. Like they were cheating. Like, nah, we'll get them next year. Like, no, we wouldn't get them next year. Like, no, wasn't gonna happen. Staten Island was too good.
Yeah, we played against South Shore. I think my 10-year-old year, they had a stacked team. They were actually really good.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure what team we played my 12-year-old year from down there, but I know we did play a team from Staten Island. And those teams, I know some kids on the team. One of the kids' last name was Mancini. I think his name was Michael Mancini. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Michael. Yeah, I know Michael Mancini.
Or like one of the kids' last name was Rupp too, I think. They were from Staten Island. They had a really good team. And we got I think we beat them like 5-4 or 6-5. But those games play back in my head all the time when I just like my head hits a pillow. And sometimes it's college baseball, sometimes it's high school. But there's like those special days where I'm like, all right, like let's go watch this video from back then, just to, like enjoy baseball, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's like a moment that, like, grow up. You're playing Little League, like you win districts, and you're like, yeah, no, like this can't get better. And then you win the next game, and it's like each time you win, it's like, all right, this feeling can't be topped for like a 12-year-old who grows up and like our entire spring and into summers baseball. It's like, and like a lot of the kids too, we're not thinking about like, oh, let's go like play college. Like you're not thinking about that. You're thinking like, yeah, these are my best friends, and this is my childhood. Like this is like the best memories that I'll have as a 12-year-old for the rest of my life. Like I'm not gonna forget that.
Some of the things like I remember that are like pretty cool was basically when we won the regional, some of us like told each other, we're like, all right, we made it. Like we were expecting to get mercy ruled by basically every team. And I've told that to so many people. Like people are like, hey, did you think you had a chance? And honestly, I thought we had no chance. I thought we were this little town from New York that is going to make it. We'll get one good game with fans, and then we'll go to the consolation bracket and not make any noise. But it's just like the first win and the first hit takes off so much relief. Like I remember, like I haven't watched a game in so long, but my first at bat against Colin Lemieux, I hit a single up the middle, and Michael Mancini was on first base, and then we just started rolling. And then Harloss hit a home run, and then it just becomes another game when you get going. But if one of your players makes one error and you get down on him, you could see that's gonna last the whole tournament, especially on TV. I mean, it's tough to get away from that. It's tough to get away from the bright lights, but when you get rolling, it turns into another backyard wiffle ball game. It's like what I say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now the last question I have related to the World Series: what two teams were down there for the Williamsport game when you guys were down there?
Actually, for the MLB,
yeah, was that before they did that?
It was the year before they did anything, but like I'd say some of the experiences we actually didn't have like the Williamsport game, but we went to a Steelers game where we stayed the whole night. Like I met Antonio Brown, Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell. That was when they were studs. I met the whole Steelers team. We went on Yankee Field. We were in a box at Yankee Stadium. I met Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Tanaka through that game, which was really cool. We went to a Mets game. We went on the Mets field. Like in my closet over here, I have a custom Mets jersey that the owner gave to all of us with our names on it. It was special. We went to Game 4 of the World Series of 2016 in Wrigley on the field. So I met John Lester, Joe Madden, Mariano Rivera was there. Some of the cool people that I like, not even just met, talked to. At the Yankee game, Brett Gardner talked to us for like 30 minutes before the game. And that was when Joe Girardi was there. Girardi talked to us for a while. D. Gordon, the Mets played against the Marlins. D. Gordon, you could probably tell by just watching him play, but he's such an energetic, good guy. We talked to Christian Yelich for a while before he blew up for the MVP he is today. I remember a kid on our team was like, hey, I have you on my Diamond Dynasty team. And that's what like sparked the conversation with Christian Yelich, which was pretty cool. But like Cespedes was on the Mets when I went there. Some of the experiences are just crazy. I've like a bunch of my friends are like, hey, have you ever been to a MLB game? Like what parks have you been to? And then I just start naming like the parks that I've like been on. And yeah, it's special. It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was I got on Yankee Stadium on the field for BP.
I saw that. That looked sick.
So that was a complete surprise. So I didn't know what was going on. So Disarm, I'm sure, I mean, everyone watching knows who he is. Like
Yeah.
I've had him on countless times and I mention him almost every episode now at this point. Like I'm just using him for free clout. Thanks, Dan. But he came, I had him on in March before I had maybe 50 files, like before I had anything, before I had 50 people watching. I think the episode got like 70 views and we planned to come down and go to a game. And this was before he met Lance McCullers, before he had him on. And I was like, Yankees Astros, big rivalry. Like, let's do it this game. Then about 3 weeks later, Lance McCullers follows him while the Astros are in Boston, or like a week before they go to Boston for a Red Sox game. So Dan DMs Lance and like, yo, like what? That's crazy that you followed me. Like, you don't want to hop on? Lance was like, yeah, I love what you're doing. Then they set up without me knowing to get field passes and tickets for us. And like, they got tickets for Max. They got tickets for my other friend too. Like we had like 5 tickets. He gave me, Dan, and the cameraman field passes, surprised me. Max comes down and Dan's like rush to the stadium. Like, you got to get here soon. We were running late. They went in without us first. Like we came in late. We had to process like my badge to get on the field. Like we were 10 minutes late. They got us down to the field. It was like, you made it. It was the craziest experience I've ever met. Like walking down, like walk past the locker room, like walk into the tunnel, like onto the field, up through the dugout. I was like, holy shit.
That's awesome though.
It was the coolest experience of my life. And I can't wait. I'm definitely, it's going to happen again this year. Like getting on the field. Max, you're coming with me this time. Trust me.
Yeah, get him on there.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. Like I had no clue. If I knew, I would have like given Max like the pads. I would have switched with him somehow, like figure that out.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I was like, holy crap, this is the best experience of my life. And went on, like met Bregman, talked to him, talked to Lance for like 10, 15 minutes, and then sat with him for an hour and filmed. Like it was like one of the best learning experiences I'll ever have, like from two storied veteran professionals.
Yeah.
It was
wow.
awesome. Yeah, I couldn't ask for like anything better, honestly. Like that was perfect. I mean, and the growth of like everything that we've done and like the work that we put in. And it's similar to what you're saying in baseball. Like you take a COVID year, you like work your ass off, and here you are. I moved out of the city in my COVID year. I come out here and I'm like, I'm not going to really play baseball anymore. Like I played baseball because I like playing with my friends, and I wasn't that good. And I was like, all right, like, let me switch it up. And I came on, I started filming and getting some guests, and here I am. Like,
yeah, that's sick. I mean, it's just like, even for you, it's just like one thing happens, the next happens, then you get a connection with this person and that person finds out about it. And then it keeps building up like a snowball. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Happy for you.
Thank you, man. And so with that said, let's like start wrapping up. We got rapid fire. I mean,
right.
everyone's favorite part of the podcast. I think this is like where most people kind of tune in. We get controversial sometimes.
All right.
Let's start off with, who's the best player that you've trained with or worked with in the lab?
See, we're thinking this is rapid fire. I don't know if I could come off fast with that, but the best player I've trained with, I'm going to say, is Michael Mancini from my area up here, committed to JMU. Definitely trained with, because the amount of hours I put in with him is, you can't even count. So I would definitely say Michael Mancini.
I like that answer.
Or how about throwing routine, especially to get that huge velo jump?
Yeah, so definitely I was on like 3 different throwing programs, but Driveline is definitely the one that got me over the top. Throwing routine, big into long toss, so you got to let it air out, even if you think it's bad for your arm, it's not. Big into long toss. Definitely short work is what I got into with college. You don't always have to go the 60 feet. I work like 45 feet, 50 feet, just for location control purposes, grip practice, bunch of stuff like that. And then just weighted balls on occasion. You never want to overdo it, because sometimes it messes with your mechanics, messes with your location. But I'd say like a daily routine for me would be like today, for example, at 3:00, I go to the gym with my trainer, and then that's usually about for 2 hours. And then right from there, I walk over to the baseball facility that's right next door. And then I do my throwing program, which I'm there for about another hour, and then I'm good for the day. But throwing program, nothing special. Just make sure you're getting your arm loose and taking care of it.
Mm-hmm. And weight program, weightlifting, what's that like?
So before it was just my personal trainer. But now it's UConn sent me home with this whole sheet that has everything on it to what's like, I don't even know how many breaths you have to take. It's perfect for someone who really wants to work hard. So I just look at the list, go down, mark my numbers, and the numbers have been going through the roof, which is awesome.
Perfect. Yeah. So now, let me think. I got a question. Favorite MLB team or player? If you don't have a team, then player.
So favorite team, I am a huge Yankee fan, like to where I will leave practice and go turn on my computer right away to watch the game. Favorite player would have to be Giancarlo Stanton. I was big into him when he got traded over, and some say that he doesn't produce, but I mean, when the playoffs come, he's putting the ball out of the ballpark, and he's must-watch TV.
And he kills the Red Sox.
Yes, he does. He torches the Red Sox.
Stan is my favorite player by a long shot.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I have this poster right here. I always kiss it goodnight every time I go to bed.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I've met him. I've gotten some DMs from Max with like the Stanton like the model pictures, like sometimes like out of nowhere, like at 2 a.m, I'll get like a DM from Max. Stanton's modeling picture like on his Instagram. I'm like, okay, like yeah, like once every couple of months, I'll get like a random DM of a Stanton post.
I would say my favorite pitcher, like just to shout him out. I mean, he's the GOAT. Marcus Stroman. Even though you might say he's washed now. That's one of the guys who every night I'll turn him on and watch his mechanics and just see how he does it. Some of the stuff he does is very cool, and especially for like the short kings out there. I wouldn't say I'm the tallest pitcher that's 6'7", going to be throwing down at you. You got to work around it, and Stroman's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I like Stroman. He's funny on Twitter sometimes. If you look at
him,
he'll troll.
Yeah, he's out there.
Great to troll. Yeah, I like that. And MLB needs some of that energy. I mean, everyone needs to be a bad guy sometimes. But Stroman's great. I mean, I know everyone says he's washed, but he's on a Cubs team with no run support, and he pitched as well as he could. He wasn't even that bad.
Yeah,
it is what it is. The Cubs should be decent this year. Maybe he'll bounce back.
Well, they got Dansby. It's gonna be fun to watch, and they got Bellinger.
I hope he does something. I love Bellinger.
I think he will. I do think he will. Same with Gallo. I think Bellinger and Gallo will both have pretty good years.
I don't know. My feelings towards Gallo after this year are just openly dislike Joey Gallo now. I don't really care. I mean, we could have given him up for absolutely nothing, and I would have been pretty happy. I'm glad we got something for him at least. At least we got a pitching prospect for him or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Now, best contract and worst contract this offseason, in your opinion? And I wait, before we get into this, are we counting the Correa deal if it's not official, the Mets one? Do we want to count it?
I mean, if we're counting it, I would say that's easily the worst contract in baseball. In baseball, I'm saying, I think that's the worst contract. But if we're not counting it, best, I mean, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say Carlos Rodon, not because I mean, I don't really care how much money we gave him. I just think that is what we needed. And I think that is what could put us over the top if Garrett Cole decides to show up this year. So I'd say best contract would definitely be Carlos Rodon. And worst, I would probably say I think he's very good, but I don't know why the Padres went out and got Xander Bogaerts. I think sometimes you don't need 9 stars throughout your lineup. And their lineup last year I thought was going to be the best in baseball, and it wasn't. So I think adding another star is not what they need. I think they need some contact guys, some lefties with speed, besides guys that are just going to juice the ball and hit gap to gap. But I would definitely say, yeah, worst would be Xander Bogaerts and Correa, obviously, and best would be Rodon. I also am big into, I mean, I don't even know how I'm bringing this up, but counting like the Joey Gallo deal and the Bellinger deal in like fantasy football, I'm a big buy low guy on players who are doing terrible that had good years. So I think it's not bad to go buy low on a player who could put up MVP numbers. So I'm a big fan of all those deals, that guys that haven't been performing well, but have it in them. And like maybe just one click, like maybe Gallo's doing one thing too soon, one thing too late. You click that and now he's hitting 50 bombs for you. So
that's why I want the Yankees to get Max Kepler.
Yeah, he's definitely been on a decline, but I also do like that. I mean, I like my dream Yankee scenario would be we pull up the young guys, we play Stanton in left, we DH LeMahieu, and boom. Because I think Stanton hits better when he's in an outfield. That's a proven stat. And I think he's not a bad outfielder. Sometimes he looks a little shaky, but it's left field in New York. You don't need someone special out there. And that just fills a spot that we need filled. And then bring up Volpe and Perez, and boom, that's a stacked lineup.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. I mean, even if they really want to put Stanton in DH, trade for Brian Reynolds, just don't give up Volpe or Peraza. Give up like Davy Garcia or Luis Gil, and I don't know. I mean, even in that deal, like I guess if you really wanted to give up LeMay, you put like Volpe at third, like work something out, put Peraza at short, Volpe at third, Glaber at second, and then you have whatever you want in the outfield. You have Osvaldo, Judge, and Reynolds.
Yeah.
I think that's a sick line. And then Stanton can
And Bader.
Yeah, you have Bader platooning.
I think like
That was-
I just need a Yankee lineup where I'm not seeing IKF try and hit a baseball or Josh Donaldson. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
How about Aaron Hicks?
I don't see Hicks.
He has it in him though. He's one of those guys.
Me and my friend literally talked about this last night because my friend looked at me. I haven't seen him in so long, and he's like, "All right, so what do you think the Yanks need to do?" And I was like, "All right, I think we need to make one more deal, and then we need to get Josh Donaldson and IKF out of the lineup." And he goes, "We need to get Hicks away." And I said, "I mean, first of all, Hicks probably isn't going to be starting on our team, and he has it in him. I mean, he was horrendous. Like, I'd rather watch my grandma hit than Aaron Hicks this year. But like, I don't mind him. He's a switch hitter. He has some juice from the left side, but I mean, if he goes, I wouldn't be mad."
Yeah. I don't
His
know.
swing is just so beautiful from the left side.
His left swing. Yeah, no. I don't know how to feel about Hicks. He's a good fielder too. Like he's a good defense.
He used to be.
Before he got Tommy John, he had a ridiculous arm.
Oh my God. That Twins game. I remember that Twins game that went into 11 innings and he made that diving catch. Like that was the prime Aaron Hicks days, like 2018, 2019. Oh my God. That's the craziest story. Like I was in Israel and I was watching it at 5 a.m. I couldn't turn that game off. I was like, there's no way I'm turning this game off. And I went to sleep at 5:45 after the game ended.
That's awesome.
I was sick. I was on the phone with, I don't know if Max, was it you? Might have been.
No, dude, I was on a cruise. I had no service. And then I was like, I was so mad. But
who was on? I was on the phone with somebody. I can't even remember. So long ago, but like, yeah, that would be a dream Yankee scenario. If like we get one move and get like an outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I mean, I'm like really good friends with Teddy Cashman, if you guys know who he is. It's Brian's son. So I played summer ball with him, and I mean, seeing Brian Cashman at my games was definitely really cool too. So any deal they do, I always text Teddy. I'm like, "Yo, tell your dad I love it. Like, keep it up. Keep spending some money."
Yeah, that's smart.
He might be the most overhated manager in the league, Brian Cashman.
Probably
100%.
All right. So now that my family's coming back, I don't need them to keep making noise. So that's where we're gonna end it up on, because I think that's a perfect ending. You know, Brian Cashman, most overhated manager in the league. That's how we end it. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to follow Jude's stuff. I'm gonna link it in the description. And then like, subscribe, comment. Any last words?
I appreciate you guys for having me, and just keep up the good work. I see what you guys are doing. I mean, you guys messaged me a little bit ago, and I just saw your page. It popped up. I'm like, oh yeah, why not hop on? But to everyone watching, I appreciate it. Hope you guys had a good time, and keep liking these guys' things and keep shouting them out.
Yeah, appreciate it. Max?
Thanks a lot for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks, boys.
Of course.